Let's light an intention candle and talk about consciousness.
Supercharged, blazing through the frequency. Crash the spell like I'm from a school of misery. And we go hard, take a peek so you can see. We heal the world, make a better place for you and me. Hear me, cranking out the remedy.
Yo, so the topic today is fear versus love. Sorry, I'm looking up here, but the camera's right here. I'm not used to the camera being on the side. I usually film things vertical. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm expecting to see the camera, but it's over here. So today's topic is fear versus love. Why is it fear versus love? Because that's the only two things, that's the only two emotions, feelings that there are. Because everything else that's not the core, everything that is not centered in love is only blinded by the veil of fear. And what's fear? False evidence appearing real, right? It's not even real, but then again, nothing is real in a sense because it's all an illusion. But fear is definitely an illusion because fear clouds the mind, clouds the perception through so many different emotions. Let's just name a few. Jealousy. You're jealous of someone else. Well, that's the fear of not being worthy. You're jealous. Someone else got something that you don't have. That you just feel like you're not worthy. You're scared. Your inner world has been threatened. Someone's doing something that you're not doing, you are jealous. That's fear. Fear because someone is reflecting back to you something that makes you feel small, something that you're not doing, you're not pursuing. So that would be fear. Limitations. Hatred is a great one because hate is the same as love. They're both passion. It's the same thing. But hate is a blinded perspective. Because if you hate something, in reality, you really just care about it, but you're just scared. Because let's just think of it this way. If you hate the government, and we'll have a video on this, trust me. But if you hate the government, you're really just scared of the shadow. You're scared of the shadowy aspects of humankind, which is just you. Human nature, reality, which is just you. Fear of control. And these insecurities that you may have. Because everything ultimately, if you're not feeling love, it is an insecurity within yourself that is blocking you from feeling that love about whatever it is. Because everything is just you, right? We know this. Everything is just you. So if you don't like a certain aspect in your world, if you're not loving something, it's blocked by fear. Just like I said with the government, it's really just an aspect of you that you are avoiding. I grew up hating the world. I just did. I grew up hating the world. It's very easy for me, even now, I can revert back to the perspective of hating the world. Because when I go outside, maybe some things like driving, I can't stand driving. Red lights, I can't stand traffic lights. Also, government oppression and money. If I see these things from a past perspective, I can really say, I hate those things. I hate money. I hate the government. I hate the control. But in reality, right? You're actually just blocking the love flowing to yourself because money is just a part of you. The government, quote unquote, even though they're not, they're just average Joes walking into government buildings. That's all the government is filled with. It's just average Joes walking into buildings and filling their role. But the government, I used to grow up hating so much because of the oppression that it causes and the over dominance with control, right? But that's really just a fear within myself. A trigger I have is when I perceive someone as ignorant or dumb to the reality, right? That's something that I used to get triggered with a lot, injustice and ignorance. Because I grew up a conspiracy theorist since from the age 6, when 9/11 occurred, right then, as a 6-year-old, I was like, hold on. So from then, I grew up 20 plus years not trusting the government. And that untrust and that hatred is really just a fear because it's not, I feel like I can't love it. I don't see myself within that thing. But in reality, it is me. And you have to you have to see yourself within it because all is you. Even the government, the ruling class, the elites, the evil elites are you. Source contains all perspectives. It doesn't matter if it's not just love and light, you know. People like to say it's just love and light, but it is love or fear. It's the whole spectrum in between that. Judgment, hatred, anxious, all of these different things are layers of fear with the self, a blockage within. And you have to go within the self to figure out why you're feeling that way towards it. Why do I hate the world? Why do I feel like everybody's dumb? Why do I say that it's hate instead of love? It's a lack of understanding. Everyone just wants to be understood, but everyone's running around in their own world, even me. You have to bring your scope, your lens that you're looking through, you have to make it internal. You have to bring it inwards and ask the questions of why you're getting triggered by the things that you're getting triggered by. Because those triggers are the neon sign, the vacancy sign on the motel that you drive by. Oh, it's open. There it is. It's the light up sign, the light bulb that goes off and says, oh, this is where I have to look because I keep getting triggered by it. It keeps interrupting my flow because you just have to flow. That's the only thing you can do because in the present moment, the only moment, all there is to do is to flow, breathe, right? So the self-love that you show yourself, well, let's just start with the self-fear, the self-hatred, the insecurities, the internal judgments, the limiting beliefs that you operate with, whether they came from you or from an external source. The self-fears are what's keeping the world fearful. Everyone's scared of everything, and that's perpetuating the cycle. But that's because no one's taught. They don't teach us in school. They don't teach us in college. They don't teach us, they don't teach our parents, so our parents don't teach us the fact that we have to fix it internally. We have to fix what's wrong with the world within ourselves first, because that's showing ourselves the love that we deserve as innate, divine little human beings. Just like animals deserve love, just like the trees deserve love, the grass deserves love. Don't be spraying don't be spraying weed killer on your grass, because what if you started growing stuff in it that's polluted? And plus, you're just not showing your grass love. Everything is you. So if your perspective is stuck in limiting beliefs, if your perspective is stuck from an insecure place, a fearful place, you're not standing solid in your own reality. If you're fearful of everything you look, you're programmed, you're brainwashed. And it's not a bad thing, there is no good and bad, but it's not your fault because everyone's programmed when they're born into this little reality. When they tune in for the first time, you're programmed to be fearful because that's what's all over the news. That's what's all over the media. That's what's all over the construct of society is based off fear for some reason. But why? It's for control. So you don't step outside your little bubble and see the big picture. But once you start finding the little corners of your internal world of why you're feeling that fear, and you clean it out, because you have to realize that most things wrong with us is essentially programmed into us from a young age, because from such a young age you are soaking in the entire reality so that you can understand it, form an understanding. So any factor that you form from is going to become you, because it's going to be in your belief systems, in your subconscious, unconscious mind. Those young ages are such a pivotal time for you to create your reality, because you are creating your own reality through your beliefs, right? So if the beliefs that you pick from at a young age are rooted in fear, rooted in separation, rooted in lack, or whatever the case may be, then that's going to pollute, toxify, and infest your mind until you actively go in, pick that little thing out, pick that little problem root, pull it out, and toss it out. Because that's what you have to do with these things to get rid of these subconscious, unconscious beliefs. So you're saying, I hate the world. They're all dumb. No one understands me. I don't understand anybody else. It's because you don't understand yourself. But once you start finding the understanding, the inner knowing about who you really are, which is all, it's just all. So, with that in mind, it makes it a little bit easier. But maybe that's too hard to attain for you at first. Because when you first start your healing journey, you're not gonna be able to say, I am all. I mean, maybe you could, but it might be rooted in ego, But you have to find out internally through meditation, through, in my experience, I did it through a couple trips, if you know what I mean, through natural herbs. And you have to do it through shadow work, which those first two things can play into shadow work. Shadow work essentially is what I've been talking about, is searching through your triggers, searching through the limiting beliefs you have of what is limiting your reality? Because your reality is limitless. Literally, it's limitless. And even if you're going by your dreams, which are still technically your reality, I have lucid dreams a lot. So I'm flying around, I'm teleporting around, I'm flying through space. Whoa, I'm beaming stuff out of my chest. That's a reality that I've seen personally for myself. So how could I tell myself I'm not a superhero? You know, even if that wasn't dreams. It's all a dream. It's just what you tell yourself. I was told from birth that this reality is hard, structured, impossible to fly, you know, stuff like that. There's no telekinesis. I can't just bring something to me with my mind. So that takes a lot of reprogramming if you really wanted to start moving stuff with your mind. I'm sure you could. I'm not saying that's not real, but I haven't been able to do that. But you get my point. You have to go in and remove the reasons why something is the way it is. Because your little identity, you know, your false identities, you can have many identities. You can have the one that you have when you're going to work. Hey, Bill. Yeah, great night last night. Yeah, it was awesome. Oh, great holidays too. Ooh, yeah, that dinner was fantastic. And then you go home and that's just a mask that you wore. But you have all kinds of internal masks. You are an onion. Layers and layers and layers and layers. So every time you have to peel back a layer of your unconscious, self, your shadow self, that's why it's shadow work, the self that's not seen, it's only felt, it's only experienced, whether you're conscious of it or not. You wake up and brush your teeth, maybe you don't like brushing your teeth, so that's not a very unconscious move, but you get up and you use the bathroom. That's not really something that you consciously even do half the time. You just gotta do it. It just happens, unconscious, subconscious. So the more you funnel out all of this self-hatred, because we all have things that we can self-hate about since birth up, whether it was our fault or not. Well, whether it was our fault or not, those reasons that we hate ourselves, we still end up doing that, It's the self-limits. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm mean. Oh, I'm selfish. Whatever you were told, that's what you're going to adopt into your little beliefs, So the more you do that, the more you get rid of all that crap. It's gunk, It is gunk. The more you find the love in everything. Oh, I just hated the government. Ooh, I hated the government. I was ready to rebel and be the messiah-ic martyr. I was ready. Let me do it. I'll take the role. But then I realized, hey, the government is just me. Because if I'm seeing it in my reality, it has to be me. It can't be anything else. And whatever the government's doing, are all things that I could be doing in any other timeline where I could be in that government or whatever, I could be a soldier, black ops soldier doing some shady, I could be any of those things. Any of those possibilities could have been me. So that's just me within, I can see myself within those facilities, whether we're talking about the government or whatever. So I have to just send that aspect of me love because it's just me. I have to understand it. I see myself in it. I can understand where it's coming from. It is what it is, essentially. The golden quote, it is what it is. So the fear is keeping it out here, beyond arm's length. Get away from me. Fear. I hate you. You're evil. The love, it's what lets you bring it back into you. You're hugging that thing. Hug the government and let it be into you. Become you. Because it is you. And it's only a guise. It's only a veil of blurry separation that's keeping you from anything you're experiencing out of love. Because if you were experiencing it, understanding it's love, it'd be a hard time to hate it. And that's something that I still struggle with driving. Like anything else, I'm good. I'm not worried about anything. But with driving, man, dang it, I hate driving. And me just saying I hate driving, obviously cements it further down into the hole of my subconscious saying, yeah, driving sucks. That means every time we drive, we're going to experience silly stuff to make us mad and to threaten our ego, which then in turn to make us fearful, which then in turns into anger, rage, hatred, any of these things, It's that limitation in the mind. And I'm still working through that. Maybe if I had a Tesla or something that could drive for me. I test drove a Tesla recently just to, some dude came up to me in the mall and asked if I wanted to. I said, sure. And it drove for me. And I was like, hey, driving's not that bad. So maybe if I had an AI robot car that could drive for me, it would help me get rid of, tame those beasts. Because everybody's got a beast in them, and that's not a bad thing. The beast isn't bad. The beast is there for you to use as a tool in whatever case. But you have to tame the beast. You can't let it run rampant because if your dog's a big old boy and he goes out and bites somebody, guess what happens to that dog? It's a sad reality. Something's gonna have to happen to the dog, whether it be legally or not, whatever, you know? So you got to tame that fury, tame that beast, that shadow within you by doing shadow work, going in and uncovering all these repressed emotions, repressed experiences, traumas, whatever the case may be. So that is why it's a battle between fear and love, and only those two battles. It's not a battle of anything else. It's fear, it's love.